The Hoopcast, brought to you by none other than Hoop Recruitment. We will be discussing the topics that lots of organisations like to avoid. And why are we doing this? Because we here at Hoop recognise that silence only compounds the problems in our society. At Hoop, we believe in being part of the change, and to do that, we need to give a safe place for people to be that voice of change. Follow Hoop Recruitment on our social media platforms to stay updated on new episodes and join the conversation with us. Hi, KK. Thank you so much for giving me again some more time today. Really, really excited to take the conversation that we've already had even further. I think what we did with the first episode, we looked at things, before you came to the UK, actually past tense. So I think now we started touching upon what's happening today, but I feel there's more conversation needs to happen around what your experiences have been at the moment, the workplace as well, and how that's been affected, and also then looking at the future with the changes that have been made and actually what that means. So if you're happy, we'll just dive right in and we will start the conversation, if that's all right. So thank you, honestly. Thank you for joining us. So if we just touch on, today, I think, and you mentioned before about, going to the shops, and it was just, and I know that I touched on the fact that for women, it doesn't feel very safe at times on the streets. And, I suppose more about the work side of things. So can I ask, I suppose, if we start by just how are you being received, and also are you being, treated respectfully in work and in the working, sector of nursing and social care? Do you find that, you are received, respectfully?
For me personally, I find it very okay and comforting because, like I said, coming into the country for work, the first set of company that I came with, they were really horrible. Like I said on the last episode, saying that those times were very dark and very difficult, but because we knew that we had people that we could complain to, people that like, for example, CQC and the council that we were in at the time, so we felt safe that they would have our back. So for me personally, I am lucky joining the second company that offered me sponsorship now, because they welcome me really well. They're amazing.
Which is
I'm not
lovely to
gonna lie.
hear.
Yeah. So despite everything happening around all the changes, but the most comforting thing for me that keeps me going is my company that I work for. They're really supportive, they're really caring, and they really are there for us, like, mentally, because they always
It's so
reassure.
important.
Yes, it is actually, like, it actually is. And they really look after us, the sponsored workers. Even the time with the confusion about the changes,
Mhm.
they made sure they got to us, like they created a group for us, all the sponsored workers, trying to, like, let us know what's happening and what's going on, that it's fine, you guys are okay, we're going to continue with the sponsorship, you don't have to worry. And also with my clients that I work with, like I said the last time, they're very amazing people, very sweet
Yeah.
people. Especially my client, I love
The
her.
way you even talk, though, in your face, I mean, people won't be able to see
Yeah.
that, but just you light up when you talk about your
Yeah.
clients and their
Yeah.
families, and even the companies, just listening to that, then the fact that there's a
Yeah.
lot that people can learn from the organization that you work for,
Yeah.
and other organizations that are operating that way. And it
Yeah.
sounds like it's coming from a place of sincerity as well, which is really,
Yes.
comforting and hopeful, isn't it? So
It
that's
is.
amazing.
Yes, it is. Just like I said to you the last time, like, just seeing that there are people like you guys that actually care about us, that wants us to feel comfortable and appreciate the work that we do. It's been the same for me, how lucky I've been with both my clients and my company that I work for. They're really amazing. The whole team, from the manager just to the one in charge for our immigration and stuff. They're really amazing. But it hasn't been the case in all of the different organizations that I've worked with. Like I said,
Okay.
yes, it hasn't been just all bright and sunny, because it's been like a whole period of year between the 2022 to 2023 when it was very difficult, like I said, because it was like it's like a modern day slavery thing, where you would work,
Okay.
yes, where you would work for a company, and it's like they would threaten you about keeping quiet, about not saying anything when you don't have hours to work for. So for me back then, I would work and cover shifts between Monday to Sunday, and I would just get paid like £200 a month or
Oh my
400.
goodness.
And the highest
And did
thing
you get
that
a
comes,
break? Did you get a break? As in, but you worked Monday to Sunday every day.
yeah, yeah, like
But
every day
regardless of
Monday,
that, that's
yeah, Monday to
ridiculous.
Sunday, and then they would give us like breaks in between, like for the shift, like maybe 2 3 hours during the day. And they would
Okay,
when it's
that's
time to pay, we don't
horrendous.
have like a certain payday. We would actually
Right.
be calling the office like, when are we getting paid? Like, I need money and stuff. And they will tell you
Oh my
tomorrow, and then it
goodness
will take
me.
like a week before we get paid. And it was very difficult actually, because during those times, like, all of us just came in. We were like living in a 3 bedroom apartment, like 8 people in the house. Yeah. And just
Did
one
they arrange
toilet.
that accommodation for you?
Yes, they did. When we came into the country, they told us like, oh, you guys would come to get the COS cost like 4,000 to 7,000
Oh
pounds.
my
That's what they
goodness.
told us. Yes, that's
That's
what they told
horrendous.
us. Yeah, and we paid the money because we didn't know better. And we came and they were like, we're gonna give you guys cars, we're gonna give you accommodation, and that's all part of the money that you paid. And when we came, it was a situation where the least people in a two bedroom house would be like five. That would be the least that would be stuck in one house. And it was just like,
And did you know you don't know these people either then, do you?
oh, my first time ever seeing them and meeting them
Okay,
was
okay,
in the
that's
UK.
horrendous.
Yeah. It's yeah, my first time ever seeing them was in the UK. We're all mixed with Sierra Leoneans, Cameroonians, Ghanaians, Nigerians, and it was just like people from everywhere.
Oh
And
my goodness. I
yeah,
mean, the thing is, you hear about these things, and unless it's in the media,
yeah,
or or you get directly told, like you're telling me now, you're
yeah.
not aware of these things. It's
Yeah, oh my God. Even up
oh,
till now, because I
okay.
do talk to other people, because when I started this company, um, that I'm working at the moment, when I told them, because I asked my manager anyways if it's okay for me to share, and they were like, it's fine, you could call our names, like it's no biggie, we support you, because they're very supportive. And I
Yeah.
told them about it, and I had to talk to other carers, and they told me the same thing. Like it's like 80% of us went through the same thing. Because it's not just me or people from my country, it's like everywhere. That's we all have the same struggles, and few of us are lucky to get ourselves together. And I'm not gonna lie, it's just with us who are very, I would say, optimistic. Like, we don't want to succumb to any situation, just like how we spoke about me struggling right now with everything that's been happening. I don't
Yeah.
let it get to me. Yes, I get emotional. Yes, I get mentally disturbed, but I don't let it break me. I
But you're
always
also a
fight.
human, KK. You're a
Yes,
human being that feels, and that that is not a normal set of circumstances to find yourself in.
exactly. It isn't. It really isn't. But it's like sometimes I just see like that's what I have to do. Like, I have to fight.
Yeah.
Because yeah,
You're
because I
amazing.
yeah. So it's just I during those situations, like, I wasn't too scared to keep quiet. Like, I spoke up, I left, and I struggled, yes, because this is me staying in a country where I don't have the financial support, and my mom
Mm.
back home really couldn't, do anything to help me here because she's struggling back home. But I had to fight, like, friends from different, where I have friends in Belgium, in the US, who would send me money just to help
Okay.
me for, yeah, for my upkeep
How
and
can I
stuff.
ask, when you left that organization,
Yeah.
what was the treatment? What was that process? Did you give them a notice period? Did you have something lined up to go to?
No, so if you the people before me that tried to give them like a notice of resignation or tried to say something, they're gonna threaten you. They're
Okay.
gonna threaten you. So I learned it from them that they made life very difficult for them with
Right.
taking the threatening them to take them off the sponsorship. And immediately you do that, home office is going to send a message to say that you have 60 days to switch. And
Yeah.
that time people don't know how to navigate. Like they don't know what to do to
60
find the
days
job
is not long
again.
either, you know. Do you know, I went
Exactly.
to a nursing home. Sorry to just interject,
Yeah.
but I went to a nursing home in West Wales last week. One of our clients we work with, lovely,
Yeah.
lovely home. And, you know, the manager and the deputy manager, both, you know,
Yeah.
born and raised in the UK, still here. And do you know what was reassuring? They were so, they talked about the 60-day window that people get, and they
Yeah.
were just, you know, just as upset by that I was, you know, because it's not
Uh,
that long. You know,
no,
when
it's
you look at
not.
DBS checks, look at reference in time, onboarding. I mean,
Exactly.
you know, I work in a recruitment business, so
Yeah.
I know firsthand recruitment can take time, even with best will
Yes.
in the world. It can
Yes.
be delayed, you know, that and that time. Do you mind me asking, with that 60 days, sorry to kind of go off on a tangent, you
Yeah.
know what I'm like, I do, you
Yeah.
know, my brain is firing here. But so with that 60 days then, what would happen after that, on that 61st day? What's the process, and what's the because I can go online and pull off the process, but what's the
Yeah.
reality? And do you know anyone that's happened to?
Yes, I do. I do. It's a lot of
Feel
us,
so
Marianne. That's
sad.
why I told you, yeah, that
Really?
I really would want to be a voice for others. So,
Mm,
if your 60 days is creeping and you have to leave on the 60th day, if you stay on the 61st day, you're going to be like illegal. And
right.
it's gonna, yeah, so whenever you want to apply for any visa, it's gonna show to home office that you went against the rules.
You've broken the
So
law,
yeah, you've
basically.
broken the law,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's gonna show on your
Right.
file, and that would come to you having been denied another visa if you try to
Right.
reapply.
So
So
do you
what
leave
people,
then? Do you have to book flights
yeah,
then
peace, you
beforehand?
leave, you make sure, and most of the people that I know, they would leave, the least amount of day they would take would be, sorry, the maximum would be 59. Nobody stays around the 60th day, because you don't know whether the 60th day starts around 12 a.m. or
Oh,
6 a.m. Nobody knows. So people always try to leave on the 59th day max, you're gone. Because if
that's
not,
so
it's
sad.
gonna be, whether you want to apply for a student visa, whether you want to apply for any sort of visa, it's gonna show that you've broken the rule, and you're gonna get exempted. And I also was so lucky, because I would have gotten myself into trouble if not for a cousin of mine who found an immigration lawyer for me. Because
Right, okay.
yeah, because we when we came, we didn't really understand all these laws, so we were just told that, oh, if I take you off the COS, you're gonna be deported. The company didn't like inform us that, oh, you would have 60 days to switch. Nothing. They just told us, as soon as we take you off, you're going to be deported. So everybody was scared to say anything. So when I left the company, I didn't send in any reason. Like, I just ran away. That's what all of us were doing. We would just
Yeah.
disappear
Which
and
is a
then
sign
just
of
leave.
desperation, isn't it? Well, you're
Yeah, and
just
we'll just
desperate.
leave, because if we say anything, they're gonna take us off. And that
Yeah.
time we didn't understand the whole 60 days period. We just knew that, oh, as soon as they take you off, they're gonna search for you and deport you like ICE does
Mm.
in America. So yeah, so that's what we thought. So during my transition, I just ran away. Honestly, I didn't send any resignation. I just left, and they were calling me. The owner of the company, I had still up to this day, I have her messages like threatening me and stuff. And I had to like lie that, oh, I'm looking after somebody and I can't leave, like she's the child, I can't leave, etc., etc. And she would be like, oh, you need to come. If you don't come by Monday, I'm gonna take you off and I'm gonna report you to home office, etc., etc. I had to like change my number. I had to change my number and everything.
You're
And
being
I,
harassed.
yes, and I went offline, like all my social media, everything, for 3 months. I wasn't
Oh,
online.
3 months.
Yeah, I switched everything off because I was so scared and I
That
was
fear is so,
struggling.
oh my goodness,
Yeah,
Katie.
so I went offline for like 3 months. I was just concentrating like on finding work, like going
Mm,
to indeed.com, totaljobs.com, etc. So I was just going to all these different websites to look for jobs.
yeah,
And unfortunately, there are jobs, but they don't sponsor, right? And I can't work for more than 20 hours a week in any other company, which is not my parent company, the one that offered me the sponsorship. So all of
right,
that,
okay.
all of that I knew when I spoke to the immigration lawyer. She was the one who told me all of these things, that if you breach any one of them, you can't reapply. If your visa gets expired, you're done for, because it's going to reflect on the system that you've broken a
Right.
rule. Yeah, and you're going to get denied
So,
for
you know, this
renewal.
information you got from your immigration lawyer,
Immigration
but your
lawyer.
cousin gave
Yes,
you that lead. Without your
yes.
cousin, where would that information be for people? Where's anyone supposed to find this information?
It's there on gov.com,
Okay.
the website, but people don't know. People
This is
don't
what
know
I'm
it's
thinking.
there.
If nobody knows that that's an option, and then do you know what I mean? I'm sorry to ask a kind of
Yeah.
personal question. Do you have to pay for that lawyer? I'm assuming there's a
Oh
fee.
yes, yeah. Oh, definitely. My cousin did. He paid because I didn't have nothing at that time. So my cousin paid for me. He paid for the
Wow.
lawyer. And what I did was, when I got the information, I shared it with all of my friends. I shared it with all of the
Yeah.
people, yeah, because that's what I did. So I shared it with all of them that knew that I ran away, because so they would call me like, oh my God, I want to leave, but I don't know what to do, like, so etc. Because my cousin prepared that foundation for me. So I was like, instead of me gatekeeping it, let me share it with them. So I told them,
Yeah.
I will talk to them secretly, and I will give them heads up that this is what I've done, and it's working, and this is what you shouldn't do, this is what you should do. And now online, thank God for social media, there are lots of other people that will
Hmm.
do TikTok videos and Instagram. That's how it goes viral, honestly. That's how
Right.
we know
Okay.
most of the things happening, based on social media, but we don't know that it's on the UK website, the UK government website. And even it's there, you could read it, but you can't understand if somebody
Hmm.
doesn't explain to you what it
Well,
actually
exactly.
means.
And the thing is, how much information is on there for any piece of legislation? It's
Yeah,
so much to digest. And actually, you need somebody to condense it, as you say, to
yeah,
easy to read, easy to digest, and easy to
exactly.
understand, you know? So, my
Exactly.
goodness. Okay. So, wow. I mean, the reality of that then as well. So, somebody then is, you know, that this person could have, you know, and I know this, as I think I touched on last time, but you know, we had a member of care staff
Mhm.
come to us in a state of distress because as an agency, we can't sponsor people. You know, we
Yes.
can't do it because we don't have the hours there to give because and guaranteed because we're an agency. And I know there are agencies out there that do
Yeah.
this and do offer sponsorship. Now,
Yeah.
I think from a legal point of view, it is legal. You can do
Yeah.
it, but if you don't have the hours, where's that money coming from? And I don't have a pot of money sat
Exactly.
there waiting for people, so it's not fair for me to bring on anybody like and with a sponsorship. And also, yeah, you know, with the nature of the work that we do here, it's not suitable. So it's
Yeah.
not the right training and support, you know, that they need in order to do that. So actually, when people are acquiring more so their first sponsorship to come into the
Mhm.
UK, I would never entertain it because you know that first role in care needs to be you know a solid foundation of training, induction, and
Yes.
giving people then preventing them and supporting them because you're preventing from complaint, from safeguarding issues, and everything else in between. You know, but it's just you know we had this gentleman and he's got two children and I'd not personally met him before, but the team had, and he was visibly upset, you know, and this gentleman is crying to me, you know, and I felt awful in as much as because all I could do was help him try and find a sponsorship because he needed this sponsorship, but
Yes.
that 60-day clock was ticking, and he has two sons, you know, and I'm thinking I've got two sons, you know, I've also got daughters, but you know, I just thought as a parent, and then to not be with my children,
Hmm.
and I take that for granted every day. I moan about my children all the time. But again, that's the privilege that I forget about, and I just take it for granted. And the devil is in the detail. And the fact that you lived in that situation, you know, the fact there's this 60-day and actually everybody gets out on that 59th day for fear of, you know, not being able to come back in. And it's just a minefield, isn't it? It really is.
It is. Because thinking about some of us coming here, the money that they told us to pay for COS, most of them we don't have that money sitting in the bank.
Mm.
So I had to take a loan with my mom from the bank, and she took some money from her boss. So this is me. We have to pay all these people, and with us back home, we have this thing. As soon as you come overseas, automatically you're rich. Like you're in a better situation than them being
Right.
back home. So people really didn't understand what exactly was going on. And even if you try to say something, it's like, oh, you're making excuses because you don't want to help us back home. You don't want
Mm.
to send anything to us, so you're trying to say that you're struggling just like us. And so those things. So I can't even speak out to family members. Like I can't even express myself because no matter how I do, they're not gonna understand, because how overseas is being sold to us back home, that you come here, all your problems are solved ASAP.
Yeah.
You come here is way better compared to back there. So, that's the notion that people have. And even me coming in, that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be easy peasy. I come here,
Hmm.
I work, I get my salary, I pay my debt, I look after myself. Going to a year or two, then I get my foot in. So it was just that dream in my head. I wasn't
Yeah.
prepared. Like none of us were prepared for what was waiting for us,
So
So
it's the theory is not matching up with the
yeah,
practical, is it at all?
no, it isn't. It isn't. It definitely isn't, because even we had to like do things to say, oh well, we're gonna strike, or we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, because what was being sold to us, what the theory was not in the practical. So it's yeah, it was actually like a very dark time. And just like how you said, anybody that you're being like, you have the privilege, no matter how somebody else explains, you would think they are exaggerating. But this is something actually people are going through. And even up to this day, Rian, I know people who are still going through this. I was lucky to get out of it, but I do know people who are still going through this, who are like, they want to leave the job. They're not happy about the environment, but they're scared because they're going to lose the sponsorship. And back then, like a year or two ago, it was much more better because there are lots of companies offering sponsorship, even though it
Mm.
was being sold. It was only few, let me say like 2 or 3% of companies that would offer the sponsorship for free. But 96% of them were selling it for 50. People sell it for £15,000, Ryan.
For
Yes.
for a 3 year sponsorship, you'd have to pay fifteen
Two,
thousand
yeah, two
pounds.
years, 6 months. It's never
2 years,
3
6
years.
months.
Yeah, two
Okay,
years,
two
six
years,
months.
6 months.
15,000. Some people were selling it for,
15,000.
yes, that's the highest I've seen. Some people would sell it for 10,000. Some people would sell it for seven. Yeah, that's
Oh
the
my goodness. And
cheapest.
who
Yeah.
polices this though? So who in the UK is saying you can charge whatever you want to charge? Or who's saying
It's
you
just the
can't charge? Or is it
it's
just,
just the companies. It's just the companies. And like we said, like these things are not out there for us to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you
And
don't know any different then, do you?
yeah,
If
exactly. And the desperation about it. This is me having 10 days to leave, and somebody's giving me to pay. So in my head, I'm thinking, for me going back home, there's a possibility that I'll never come back, because I'm going back home with all these debts that I have, that I have
Yeah.
to pay people back home. Like it's it sounds like a disgrace to us for you to be deported, or for you to go back home with nothing, right? It's going to take a huge toll on you mentally, going back home with nothing, having to invest all this money coming for work, and it didn't happen. And now you have to go back home with nothing. And you have to go back home, you have to pay people there your debts and stuff. And they're not going to understand. They're not going to believe what you say. And somebody here is saying, oh, I could give you the sponsorship, you could stay, but it's for this amount. And what they would do is they would say, okay, well, if you don't have the money now, you could work and we'll take it out of your salary. And
Right,
yeah, it's
okay.
like you're
It's
giving,
exploitation.
it is. So that's why CQC and all these other organizations were saying it's a modern day slavery type of thing, because it's like some organizational abuse. Because that
Yeah.
is not right. You're doing the wrong thing. And instead of you helping like genuinely, you are doing this. So that's why I sometimes blame the organizations for the government bringing in all this legislations and all these changes in the rule, because of how some organizations have exploited.
Well, I was going to say it's changed as well now, hasn't it? So whereas
yeah,
people could, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong, because
yeah,
I've never had to go through this, I never will. But my understanding was people coming into the UK could pay towards their sponsorship, whereas now I believe they've stopped that. So
yeah,
the organisation has to pay it all, which almost then is a deterrent to say,
yeah,
no, it's trying to say, right, no, let's employ from the UK, which
yeah,
to me, that's what they're doing. So
yeah,
with that then, I mean, obviously companies that go into an organization is going to try now to,
yeah,
but again, I speak to a lot of people. I've been really the last few weeks, I don't know if you've seen my social media,
yeah,
it's been wild. I've been
yeah,
to Birmingham, I've been all over the place.
yeah,
And but the conversation, so I've been talking about you, not naming you,
yes,
but you and
yeah,
the insight you're giving me into your experiences and also some of the anecdotes I've been given. And we just, what's given me hope in this country is that there are really good people and they care about exploitation, they care about people, and they actually have said, and I touched on this last episode, I believe, if my memory serves me, but that actually the system, it's not broken because it can be fixed, but it needs repair because it's not fit for purpose. And there's people in a lot of people, a lot of senior people that have, senior seats at tables, and they're in agreement with me, which is really refreshing. I mean, I was at the Chief Nursing Officer conference here in Wales last week, and again, conversations with fantastically, intelligent minds, and but again, they share that ethos with me, which is really reassuring. But it's the how do we get this change now to start? Because you know people from overseas as well, and I'm sorry if this sounds very generalizing, and don't get me wrong, I know every population is always a percentage that are, you can't generalize, but people work really hard. Every encounter, I can still remember having people, and I would employ people that have come in from various parts of the world, and my goodness, the work ethic was second to none, honestly, but also with a
yeah,
smile.
yeah,
It's not begrudging, it's not, it's just a pleasure, and it
yeah,
seems to, because as long as you treat people correctly, it really works,
yeah,
but to now try and deter, so some organizations will continue anyway regardless. I spoke
yes,
to one last week, and they were saying, it is what it is, the changes are made, but we're still going to be employing from overseas, which again, I thought brilliant, good, that makes
yeah,
me happy. Because, and again, that's probably not going to go down well with everybody listening to this, but I don't particularly care, because to me, what I care about is humanity, I care about
yeah,
kindness, and I care about our societies. Now, I would rather have somebody look after my relative who, I don't care where they've come from in the world, as long as they are skilled and
yeah,
they're able to do the job and they're kind and they're warm. If
yeah,
they've got those things, I'm on board. I don't care if they're from, born in the UK or born
mm,
outside the UK. But what's happening is, and what the media, as we touched on last time, has done, it's almost people from overseas have taken our jobs, but actually there's people in the UK sat on their backsides not wanting to work. And that sadly
exactly,
is a systemic problem that it's an education piece then that we need to look at. So, there has to be balance, of course, there has to be
yeah,
diversity, of course, but it's almost, and I hope that gives you some hope, and
yeah,
people from overseas, that there are organisations that promise you, and there are senior leaders in Wales. I'm speaking on behalf of Wales,
mm,
but that they see everybody, they see the
yeah,
value of everybody, they see the value of diversity. And honestly, I think I felt more hopeful in the last few weeks than I felt in a little while. I think it was starting to, social media, the news, it was all starting to get quite heavy on me,
yeah,
but I'm I've turned a corner, I think, in my hope. I think, change is coming. I think again I mentioned this, but we've got our Senedd elections here in Wales in May,
yeah,
and we had a by-election recently, and actually there is change,
mm,
already, and the impact that's already sending to Westminster, and the message, sorry, that's taken to Westminster. I think things are going to be changing. But again, here in Wales, what it does mean is each political party is ramping up what the promises they're going to be making,
yeah,
and their manifestos. But actually, it's the follow through. So it's going to be really
yes,
interesting in 12 months, isn't it? But so actually, to look at, so kind of this is where we are at the moment. So organisations now have to pay for sponsorships. This 59 days, it's not 60 in reality, 59 days to find other work. And you just mentioned there as well that the sponsorships and the visas are 2 years and 6 months. That's the maximum they
Yes.
are. Can I ask, what would determine the length of your visa? So how does somebody get the maximum, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so I think it depends on the company and the COS that they offer. So
Right.
when
Okay.
you go to apply for your visa, you see your options of paying for like 2 years or 3 months, or 2 years, 6 months, or 3 years, or even 5 years.
Okay.
But based on the COS that you have, because the maximum of COS that I have seen for organizations is the 2 years. So I haven't seen any COS being valid for 5 years. I haven't yet, and I haven't heard about it. Because all the people that would tell me that, oh, I got a sponsorship, it's normally for 2 years, and then after you have to renew. So you can't apply for a 3-year visa with you having a 2-year sponsorship. So
Right. Okay.
the type of visa that you apply for should correlate with the sponsorship that you have. So if you're being sponsored
Okay.
for 2 years, you're gonna apply for a 2-year visa with that, because you need the main document that you need when applying for the visa is the sponsorship.
Right.
And
Okay. So you
yes,
get the
and every
sponsorship and then the visa off the
first,
back of it. Yeah,
yes,
it makes sense, doesn't it, when you think
yeah.
about it? Okay.
Yeah, so that's how we normally get the amount of years that we're allowed to work in the UK, that we're allowed to stay in the UK. So yeah, majority of them is the 2 years, like I would say 2 years, 6 months type of thing, or 2 years. So yeah, so that's how we know the length of it. But also with regards to the companies sponsoring, even though there are like changes, they would say, oh, these changes are for us to employ more people in the UK, because there are lots of people that are in the UK who are complaining of being unemployed, right? I think instead of just generalizing all of the skilled working visa, and we know there are lots of sectors that people who are in the UK don't want to work.
Mm.
I know so many people who are looking for sponsorship, but based on the field that they're in, there are most of the sponsorship that you would say it's better, even though it's not easy to get, is majority of them are in the health and social work sector, right? But most people also that I have seen in the UK, they don't want to do that work.
Yeah.
They don't. So just saying that, oh, not to employ overseas, like, oh, we should stop that by employing overseas. But I can tell you, even here in the UK, there are not lots of sponsorships. I have more than
Mm.
10 people who have called me for sponsorship, and they can't find, even in the health sector, they can't.
Really? Do you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not sadly, I'm not
And they
surprised
are in the
because yeah.
UK. Yeah.
And
So
they're
they make it
great
seem as if,
workers and they're great
yeah,
people. It's not
exactly.
even just the work, they're great people. They deserve the opportunities. It's that equity piece, isn't it?
Yeah,
But it's not, and we're not. And there's definitely a huge gap in the opportunities being given to people,
exactly.
and it's almost, and I remember this one, he's an area director for
Yeah.
a care provider across England and Wales, and he was just saying how awful it is to have when people are begging you on their hands and knees, but you understand why, because of what you've already said. The implications of that is that 59, you're out. Day 59, you're done, and you're out of the UK, and then you've got to go back. Then it's all the it's and then it's the whole process of that. You're either leaving family members in the UK and you've got to go, and then you've got to go back to whatever circumstances that await you. But and I'm sure that again is absolutely abroad, and it depends on your family, it depends on lots of things. But it's so unfair. There's a lot of injustice here, and I think as you've just touched on there as well, just to pick up a point, is in the UK it's not a popular career, which makes me sad because I'm a nurse, I've been a carer, and what does change look like? What change is needed? So if we've looked at kind of where we are now, we've looked at where,
Yeah.
time's gone by. What does the future, what do you think it looks like, and what do you think it should look like? So I think they're going to be two very different answers.
Answers. Okay. I really so just hearing from you that there is hope, maybe now I would think something like honestly,
Oh,
the future that I see now is really terrible. It's really because I every day when I talk to my friends, when I talk to my partner and other people, it's like um if the next election we're all going back home. That's what we all say to
Oh,
ourselves. We're like, oh my God, I
oh,
can't believe by
KK.
2029 we're all going back because oh reform is gonna come in, oh this other party is gonna come in. And do you know what we have seen with the politics and social media is like, oh let's get rid of the immigrants and our problem is solved. So
It is,
as for
yeah.
us, for us, the immigrants were like, okay, so that means that's what the other parties are going to sell for them to
Hmm.
win, right? And
Yeah.
even with Labour, we have seen what they do, like they succumb to the pressure of other parties, and then they want to enforce all these rigid laws to say that oh, we also don't tolerate this illegal immigrant, or because they want to, sell themselves that we're doing the work that the people want us, the patriots want us to do, right?
Yeah.
So the future that I see and people around me see, it's that okay, we're all gonna get deported. We're all gonna. It's not going to be outright or leave like how they do in the US. Well, ICE coming into our homes, like picking
Yeah.
us up and going. But I feel like they would wanna like tighten the noose around our necks with all these laws and changes because
Mhm.
I do know people who have left already. So I do know a
Well,
couple of people. Yeah, I do know a couple of people who came here to study. They've done their masters, double masters, and as soon as they finish, they go rather than wait to apply for a graduate visa. Because with the graduate visa, also they changed the law. Instead of you having a 2-year graduate visa, they changed it down to 18 months, which is 1 year 6 months
mhm.
now. And also the threshold for the money, which is also a massive problem with them changing the law when they decided to up the salary for every sponsored worker. We
Mhm.
was just lucky for the care because the care companies, they were like, we will definitely not be able to pay carers this certain amount, so they reduced our own annual salary, right, for us to meet the threshold. But with other
Right.
sectors, they upped the threshold from 20 something thousand to over 36, 38,000. Yeah. So
Wow.
and companies don't want to sponsor because if I have to sponsor you, I have to pay you this amount of money. And I don't even know if you're up for the job because maybe
Mm.
most of
It's a
them don't
risk,
have
isn't
the
it?
experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. So you wouldn't also want to blame the companies too much for them not wanting because they would tell you if it was back then, obviously we would sponsor you guys. But now
Yeah.
with all the laws changing, it's like that's why I said I feel like Labour are also succumbing to the pressure of social media and other
Mhm.
parties because they feel like they also would want to do something if they want to stay in power. So it's all the things that we're saying, it's not good for the future
No.
that we see ourselves in. Because just imagine now if the one party that they portray themselves to be there for us immigrants and be there for people, they are treating us this way. Just imagine the ones that clearly and very vocally don't like us, what they would do.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
so we all think that by 2029, we're gonna go back home because there is no way I'm gonna be here working as much as I am right
So
now,
sad,
and
KK.
mentally, I am being I'm being like I don't know, just the feeling just now that we have all this people around us that we don't even know who wants us to be here and who doesn't, and then this set of people come into power who are very vocal about we don't want you here. So nobody will want to stay in that environment because then I have to be scared for my life. I have to be scared for, whatever I'm doing. And I wouldn't want to be in that environment. And I wouldn't even feel comfortable working because then that would affect my work and how I would treat a client. So the best
Yeah.
thing for me is for me to leave. And so, yeah, that's the future that we see at the moment. Because I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for also the people that are around me that we're
Hmm.
all under,
I know you
like, we're all
mentioned you had friends that you've spoken to as well, haven't
yes.
you, about
Yeah, and
this?
I
And
told them about the podcast and they shared their
yeah.
own things. That's how I know about all the, because I never came here as a student, I came here with a working visa. But that's how I know about what the students are also facing because most of them also came here to study. They paid their fees. It's not scholarship. They came contributed
They
also to the
played, they
economy.
contributed, yeah,
Exactly. They contributed, they paid and everything. And just with all the changes, it's like, okay, you come here to study, give us your money, and then you go back.
and go.
Yeah.
And
So
what annoys me as well is that even just hearing that, a lot of people are thinking, right, 2029, we're out,
yeah.
but actually the NHS would collapse. The social care sector would collapse. So it's almost, and do you know what? I'm not going to name the political party, but I
Yeah.
spoke to a political party here in Wales a few months ago, and I was a member of this party. And lovely, to be fair, you know, he was a lovely man, he was. And I thought, here we are now, because not all politicians. I've got a lot of time for a lot of politicians, but some of them, as we've seen on the media, they don't portray themselves very well, do they? And especially in certain parties. I mean, I'm not going to go into names, but I'm not a fan of some of the people
Yeah.
outright. But it is what it is. So, without trying to get myself in a big hole here,
Yeah.
my point is, this gentleman said to me, I talked about overseas staff, and I said, we're going to have a displaced workforce. So what are you planning on doing about it in your party? And his response was, because of another party that is very vocal about their thoughts on the fact that we shouldn't be having overseas staff and taking our jobs here in the UK. And I'm
Yeah.
using kind of,
Yeah.
air apostrophes there because it just is ridiculous. And even the notion is absolute nonsense. But basically his point was, I've kind of digressed here, but his point, I'm trying to be as PC as I can,
Mhm.
but I'm also not naming this personal party, but which is very difficult. But this gentleman was saying that they have to speak about immigration, because if they don't, as you've already touched on, they
Yeah.
will lose seats from, and then what they're trying to do is educate those people that are thinking in that one direction,
Yeah.
and but they need to speak to those people in order to get their attention and bring them back.
Yeah.
So actually what I did is, from that, that conversation with him, I was actually reassured that he said he completely agreed with me on lots of
Yeah.
things with overseas workforces. So that was reassuring. It was almost
Yeah.
a strategic side of things. And because he understood that if they don't say anything, actually being silent on it is even worse.
Yeah.
They have to say something on it. And I think initially it depends on obviously which party it is elected,
Mhm.
both here in Wales, but also Westminster as well in a few years. And, but we have to consider that. And I do feel a bit more hopeful. Like, there's something in me that is thinking, well, there's a lot more people now that are, and the fact that in Caerphilly here in Wales,
Mhm.
I'm going to say it, Reform didn't get in and didn't get the seat, and
Thank
which
God.
is
Thank
yay.
God.
But it was honestly the relief, because in Caerphilly, I drive through for my son's football that way, and I saw the flags, I saw the posters, I was thinking, please God, no, um, and they didn't, he didn't get in, the councillor didn't get
Oh,
in, and
thank God.
it was brilliant. And actually, that's telling, because Caerphilly's a working class authority, local authority. It's you know there's a lot of people there that are angry at the government. They are angry, because there's and some people's jobs have been taken, but so they are, I suppose, a fair reflection of the population of Wales, because you've got a mixed bag of people there, from all different walks of life, different, you know, work situations, different, I suppose it's quite a diverse, population. So it is a reflective, an indicator, I suppose, then, of potentially what is coming. And I think it's just interesting. And so that gave me hope, and then there's new, party leaders, sorry, coming up, and they're in the media, and I feel they give hope to people. And again, I'm not, I suppose, allowed to speak and say who, but there are people that are speaking up about these topics in a way that I appreciate, and I'm sure you've seen some of them as
I've
well.
seen
And
them. Yeah, I've gone to follow them also because I want to hear those things that at least it
yeah,
brighten my day.
I know, honestly, but I promise you, I feel like the narrative, and don't get me wrong, I know about Instagram algorithms and all that, and it picks up what you want to hear, but it's not just on my Instagram that I'm hearing it, it's in the news. These names are coming up more and more, and it just gives me hope that there are people who share, I think, my thought processes. And as arrogant as that sounds, I'm not perfect. I don't profess to be the most intelligent woman to grace earth. but I know I'm a good person at the core of it. I've got a good moral compass. And I think with that, I want to see more people with a good moral compass, making decisions on things like immigration, and also decisions that will positively impact those. Because I agree, we have to, for example, I know nursing colleagues of mine, they're student nurses and they're in year 3 and they do not have a job to go to. But that's not down to, people from overseas taking their jobs. That's down to mismanagement,
Yeah,
and leadership issues. There has to be, as with all things, there has to be balance.
just like I said on the first episode also, we really don't have issues with that. Because
No,
like I
you
said, on
contributed a
our
lot.
visa, on our visa, it's there, no public fund. And we choose to come despite knowing that we're not
Yeah.
entitled to public fund for 5 years. And that's not that's not any issue, because I mean the whole essence of us being here is to work and contribute to the country.
Hmm.
And some of us would want to stay here and have a family here. For me, I don't have any kids, I'm not married, but hopefully, if I want to have my kids in this country, obviously, I want the country to be great. I want my kids to be in a very good country, right? So I wouldn't come here to say, oh, I'm going to destroy the country. This is where I'm leaving now. This is like a second home for
Yeah.
me, right? So I really don't have issues with me contributing or them setting laws that would enable us to contribute,
Hmm.
like they said, the new home office secretary that was saying, oh, you need to volunteer, you need to do this, you don't need to have any criminal record for you to be entitled to indefinite leave. And I really
Mm.
didn't have any issues with that, because I'm like, I'm working, I'm paying tax, I'm paying insurance, so I know I'm qualified, I'm not a troublemaker, I've never had any issue with safeguarding or any police or nothing. So
No.
yeah, that's those are good laws, those are good criterias, right? Because
Yeah.
you want to protect the people who are born here, who live
Hmm.
here, who this is the only home that they have, unlike us that would have two. So I do get that. Like I really do would support those initiatives like any day and every day. Those are really good initiatives. But the ones that I see the government would have issues with companies treating workers with labor modern day slavery tactics or organizational abuse tactics, and them also doing it in a different way, because I don't
Hmm.
know if they realize they are also treating us in a abusive way by
Yeah.
changing all these laws for us that are already here, that we signed a
Hmm.
contract with them, that the laws were different when we came in and now we're in and you're changing all these laws. That's also abuse, because that's,
Yeah.
like you said, that's you playing God on my life.
Hmm.
That's you telling me that, oh, you come in here, you're going to spend 5 years and have indefinite, but oh, I'm a god, I don't care, I'm going to change it to 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't care how you're going to walk around it. This is my land, I'm going to do whatever I want to do
Yeah.
without thinking about the impact that is going to impact us, without
It's
thinking about exactly, because I saw a debate the other time with the parliamentarians debating about this issue, talking about the Hong Kong refugees that came with that also are going to be affected if they decide to cancel the indefinite, or if they decide to up it to 10, 20 years. I looked at the whole debate beginning to ending, and you could see the concerns of the parliamentarians speaking for members of the community, talking about, I run away from a country where I would be killed if I go back. So you taking that away from us would cause issues. And for us, the immigrants, the skilled workers, like we came here with loans and debt. I have like 1 million leones, because my currency back home in Sierra Leone is called leones. May
okay.
I have like probably 1,000 pounds that I have to pay back home, and you kicking me back home, I don't have that money. As soon as I get there, I'm going to be reported to the police, because people are
Oh
going to
my
hold me for their
gosh.
money that I took and I haven't paid. So
Ah,
these are all the things that I think the government they don't
they
look
don't
at.
see, do they? They don't know.
They
It's the
don't, yeah.
detail
So they just
again.
make the laws without thinking how it's going to impact us mentally, physically, financially. Like they don't really seem. And just like you said, the other aspect of like the future and what like I've told you about how I feel and how I see the future, that is very dark and it's not. But based on some information that you're giving me today, at least I'm gonna share with the others that there is hope for us. There are other people who really care about us.
They
But
really are.
what I would actually like to see is for people to when you're changing these laws, I get it. It's you're thinking about the concern for the citizens, but I also feel like before changing the laws, they should also try to like do a statistics, like try to hear from immigrants, like try to, even if you don't come to us directly, but go to the MPs, let them speak to members of their community, let them see with us changing these laws, like doing a consultation that would you would see how it's going to impact us also in a positive and in a negative way before changing the laws, because we just wake
Yeah.
up any morning and we just see, oh, there is a white paper and there are 10 laws in there without, I'm really like, what the hell is going on? Like we think like, what happened? Like what's going on? You could see this in the news, you would see, oh, asylum seeker killed somebody or raped somebody, and the 2 weeks, give it 2 weeks, the laws are going to change. And guess what? When the laws change, they don't change just for the asylum seekers. They change for us, the legal migrants, skilled workers who came for work. And what did we do? Because that's what we normally we ask ourselves, like, what did we do? We were not in the news. We didn't do
Yeah.
anything. Like, why are the laws being changed for us? You know? So
It's
it's us.
unfair, isn't it? It's not
It
fair.
is.
I think that's
Because
what
like,
the theme of this is, that it's just not fair. And I think there are so
no.
many, different ways that we can go about these things, yet
Yes.
we just seem to go, do you know what? Somebody's made a mistake here and done something, or made a mistake or intentionally done something wrong.
Yeah.
Let's just blanket everybody with the same brush,
Everybody,
tar everyone
all
with the
the
same brush.
immigrants,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's not the same. It's not fair.
No,
And
no, it's not. And that's what I really would want from people. That's what, even if it's with newspapers, it's with people that have the power. Just try to go out there and don't generalize all of us. I
yeah.
get it. Some of us are really bad. Some workers are really terrible, but stop
You could say
generalizing
that though
all
about
of us.
everything, couldn't you? You could say that
Yeah,
about, nurses as a population. You could say that about teachers. You could,
exactly. Exactly. And the lady,
police is another one to look at, isn't it? Because if you get one
exactly.
police officer does something corrupt, and then the whole,
Whole police,
workforce is done. Yeah,
exactly. Thank you.
exactly.
Because when I came in, I saw a nurse in the news, and she's white that was killing babies. So you couldn't say all nurses are bad. Like, oh, Rian is a nurse and she's terrible. She killed babies because somebody else does that. So I feel like that's the grace also they should give us, and also for the people in power, for them to be honest. Because I feel like they're not honest to you guys, the citizens, because they
Yeah.
don't really tell you guys what we contribute to the country. And that's something that I really, because I feel like people who support all these parties that hate immigrants, I feel like, I wouldn't say they're stupid, no, but I feel like they're misinformed.
Yes, I agree.
That's
I
what
think
I
there's not
feel.
stupidity in it. I think it is.
Yes, I
There's
feel
an
they're
education lacking, isn't there? We
yes,
need to
they're
get in and
exactly. They need to educate them, because like you said, the other party, I don't know, me, I'm allowed to call names and say this other party that I've seen the Green Party, who they were calling statistics about what immigrants contribute into the country. And I was like, oh my god, they would say students, like immigrants, like on a general population, have contributed like a 400 billion. I'm thinking about all this money in terms of applying for fees, like put pumping money back into the system, like buying
Mhm.
food. Like I said the last time, I don't buy my bread in Sierra Leone, I buy my bread in Tesco and
Yeah.
Co-op and Sainsbury's. So us pumping back the money, when they checked all this money that immigrants contribute into the country, it's a lot of money.
Hmm.
Our taxes that we paid, because I also went online to say, oh my god, I feel like the numbers sound exaggerated. Like I'm like, oh, I went to check myself, and there were key numbers, Ryan, like billions of pounds that skilled workers contributing to the, I'm like, if you tell your citizens about all this, I feel like the hate that they have towards us, it would be reduced. It wouldn't change automatically everybody's
No, but it's a
perspective,
learning
but
exercise, isn't it? We need, it's
exactly.
part of that learning exercise. And I think
Exactly. But they would
yeah.
understand that they're not just coming in, oh, they're coming in to take a job. So, okay, yes, they do have some of the jobs, but yeah, they also contribute. Because I pay my taxes and insurance, but I'm not entitled to public fund. If my child goes to school, they have to pay for free meal, whilst your child will get a free meal.
Yeah.
And I contributed towards that because
Yeah.
I am paying tax. So I feel like
So
these are
you're
all the
already being
information.
penalised for no
Exactly.
apps. And this is, I think there's a few things. I think for, to kind of summarise with the changes we need to make, we need to see, more of that media coverage of the positives, but you know,
Yes.
and we do need to shout about that for a more balanced view. People can then make a more balanced
Yes.
view on things. You know, we need to be thinking about the well-being of, you know, people coming in from various parts of the world, because you know that anxiety must be, you know, every few years
Yeah.
you don't really get a break of thinking I'm
No.
okay for a minute, because you're constantly thinking my next hurdle's coming. How
Yes.
do I get around that? How do I manage that? So
Exactly.
I think there's an education piece.
Yeah.
Social media and the media have a responsibility here to play as well, and to take account for. And you know, we do need to be educating, but you know, for longer term, you know, kind of resolution of this, we need to be educating our children. What I'm
Yeah.
realizing though is, because these decisions affect so many people, they can't just happen overnight. So whereas my ignorance didn't know that before, I would think, oh, well, why doesn't that just happen? Well, actually, because there's a process behind that has to, because these things have to be done with, you know, expert opinion and research backed up with facts and data. You know, there's so much more that goes into these things, but that doesn't stop it being frustrating from your side at all, you know, and the stress, the anxiety. So I think the one thing that we can change pretty much immediately is, you know, sharing this podcast, but also other podcasts, other bits of literature that we find that
Yeah.
actually support people who have come into this country and not only financially contributed, but you've contributed to the lives of so many people in the
Yeah.
work you do.
And that's why I said, like, in the future, I really hope for people to be informed, like for people
Hmm.
to see and hear us. And just like I said, the people, those with power, like having a company or a news outlet, it's just like what you're doing for us right now. Because I know that even if it's just one person that hears this podcast, and you know they listen with an open heart and being not judgmental and just trying to be open minded, and if they could hear my story, maybe just a little bit of sympathy that they would have, maybe they would walk with compassion whenever
Hmm.
they meet an immigrant, instead of just being judgmental that, oh, they're here to take jobs or they're here to rape or kill people. So yeah, so I just feel like information is really key at this point, and that's
Yeah.
something I feel like should actually go out there, you know. And there are lots of us who are willing to speak up, a lot of us who are willing to work with people. Like I said, volunteering is not a problem as long as I know I'll be able to like touch people, I'll be able to share my story, because it's not for me to keep and die with it. If I'm able to share something that is uncomfortable, or maybe later people will use that against me in the future, but if I know I'm even helping just one person with my story, that's absolutely fine, and I'll be
That's
happy to
exactly
know
how I
that.
feel. I think,
Yeah.
except, yeah, one person, because you change what you, that's somebody's life you could have just changed. And honestly, I feel that what you've done with, you know, having these conversations with me, honestly, you know, even if, as you say, there's one person listening who some of this resonates with, or they're going through something similar, because the thing is, the people going to be going to listen, I can't go English out now, can I? But the people who are going to be listening to this are going to either be people from overseas who are perhaps, you know, some of this is going to be, you know, triggering for them and touching, you know, sensitive points for them. But some of this could be organizations and leaders of organizations that are going to, you know, think again about how perhaps they're treating people, or that actually, and some of them could think they're doing a really good job, and some of them probably are trying their best.
Yeah.
However, there's still improvements. I think what this episode has done in particular is, you know, we've really talked about the workplace, and we've really talked about the detail of what, you know, the struggles that you're facing. So, you know, thank you, honestly, so much. I really don't feel this is going to be the end for you and I in terms of our relationship and further conversations, and I hope it's not, because I think, you know, we come from very different backgrounds,
Yeah.
but I'm coming from, my perspective is, this to me is a learning exercise for me, because not only is it for this podcast episode and the one before, but also it's for conversations I'm having with people in these events that I go to, or, you know, the meetings I attend, because talking is powerful,
Yeah.
you know, and coming together with an intelligent mind like yours, and an insightful mind like yours has been just such a privilege. So I can't, and I'm not being condescending at all, I'm so grateful for your time. I know how busy you are, and I'm just really grateful to you. So thank you so much.
You're always welcome. And I'm happy, just like you said, we've learned things. It's not just about me sharing, but it's also about me learning things. Like the thing we spoke about sharing. So the rooms that you have walked in, because I've seen you on social media, the conferences that you go to, these are conferences that I can't reach at the moment, and some other people like me can't go to. But if you are going to be like a voice for us, and that also would give us courage to say that, okay, at least we have somebody that is up there and that's willing to fight for us, that is willing to share our stories, that's willing to, just hearing that from you also gives me joy. It's also, and I'm, as soon as we finish this, I'm gonna call my friends and say that, guess what, guys, da, 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 we have we have a little glimpse of light in our future. It's not that dark as we see it now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we just, all the support and prayers that we would have to give to the right people who actually, have empathy for us and have the compassion for us. So at least that's a good thing that I got from this conversation, that all hope is not lost, because honestly that's how we see things, that 2029 we're done for. So, but hopefully at least we would have that courage to say there are also good people out there. It's not just my company that I work for, it's not just my client, my lovely client. She's looking at me right now. She's like giving me thumbs up. Yeah.
Oh,
Whenever I'm
honestly,
on the,
that's
yeah,
nice.
whenever I'm on the phone, she thinks I'm having an exam, and she's giving me thumbs up to go. But yeah,
Oh, bless
yeah,
you.
but at least we know there are also other people in other sectors and other parts of UK that are been there for us and been supportive. So
Oh,
that's
there are,
really a good
honestly.
thing. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I am just really grateful that you have talked about your experience, because if you didn't have the bravery and courage to do that, then I would be none the wiser. And the conversations now, my conversations again at these next events I go to, it's going to go into be very much that, actually, did you know this? Because I didn't know this until I had this conversation. And that starts with you, KK. So thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. And if I was your mother, not to come from the most patronizing place, but I'd be so proud of you. I really would, because not only have you come into this country, which has not been the warmest of welcome, but what you have done, is you've also made a career for yourself and also a name for yourself. So if I can do anything, you please reach out to me. But thank you. I'm conscious of time. I kept you for ages, but honestly, as always, absolute pleasure.